Senate Bill SB 1058. Short title, Schools, Learning Materials, Activities. This bill was introduced by Senator Bartow, and it will be discussed in the Senate Education Committee on the 26th, which I believe would be Tuesday. This bill is a very simple bill, and it's something that makes a lot of sense. But I am pretty sure that it's going to get a lot of pushback from the other side. All it is that it requires transparency. It requires transparency in what the school materials are that are being used and the activities that the children in school are required to participate in, so that the parents know what their kids are doing. What could be simpler than that? It should not take a bill,
rocket scientist?
a law. Yeah, it shouldn't take that for the schools to do this, but unfortunately it does. Now I know Archie and I discussed this beforehand, and I know that you have a couple of, if not opposition, at least some concerns about it. What was that,
Well,
Archie?
maybe you need to ask Connie first, because I may take 2 hours on this one.
We don't have 2 hours, and we don't have enough coffee to keep the
Everyone-
audience awake for
that's
that
right.
long period of time. So Connie, what do you think of that? Should the school make available to the parents exactly what it is that's happening with their kids?
Absolutely. Otherwise, we're going to have the Gestapo training camp at our public schools. And I sent my children to private schools all their life, and I always knew what was going on. And that's why we paid for their private education, is because we wanted to be participating in what they were learning. We volunteered, we did fundraising, we got involved. And parents need to know what their children are being taught in school, whether they're going to private school and they can afford that, or whether they're going to public school. So I do personally feel very, very strongly that we need to know what our children are being taught in school, because we are their parents, and we need to raise them as we want them to be, like with our culture and our differences and our different religious values and whatnot. So yeah, so I feel.
Archie, what is your objection to that?
I don't often have a terribly big heartburn with a bill, but I have a major heartburn with this bill. Folks, I'm going to tell you and stress very strongly, you need to read this bill word for word, paragraph by paragraph, to see exactly what this bill does and what it does not do. And before you get to that bill, my suggestion is that you go to Title I, Section 601 and Section 602, and see what is provided in those sections for your rights as a parent to control your child and what your child learns, where they learn it, and how they learn it. Because this bill does away with it. All right? This is a horrible bill. I don't even know how to begin to start telling you, so will start.
Is it ambiguously written?
I'm sorry?
Is it ambiguously written, and is that what your interpretation is?
Well, let me see. The materials that they want to provide for you, if you look at it in Section B, Paragraph 1, the materials that they're going to teach this year is not mentioned. It says they have to tell you what they taught, the material they used last year, not this year. So you want to know what your child's going to be taught this year, or what they were taught last year? Well, this says you're going to be told what you were taught last year, and you have objection right to object to what was taught last year, not what's taught this year. All right? Then we go on further down.
Always count on Archie. Always
Okay.
count on Archie.
The schools are not required to list learning materials and activities pursuant to this section under any of the following circumstances. The school district governing board or charter school governing the body of the school is responsible for the operation of the schools with fewer than 500 students. Okay? So, I mean, if you're in a school that only has 499 students, you don't have a right to object to anything. That's been removed by this section. Is that right? No, I don't really think so. But it's taken away those rights from you, and unless you read it and really pay attention to it, you're not going to pick that up. Then the learning materials or activity are selected independently by the instructors. So if the instructor says, hey, I'm going to teach you all about rules for radicals, you don't have any right to object to that. It's taken away from you by this bill. It's a bad bill, bad bill. Then it goes on and limits it to a specific class of students. If you're taking remedial courses, none of this applies to you because you took the course last year and you failed it. So now they're going to teach it to you again, but you don't have the right to object to it this time. Why? All right.
Do you feel
okay,
that?
okay, then it goes
Do
on.
you feel that cold water going down your back? I
Me?
Do. No, I do.
Oh, well, I got to tell you then, the other thing is a public institution shall obtain a signed written consent from the student's parent or guardian or for using a video, audio, or electronic materials that may be age inappropriate. Why are they teaching age inappropriate material? Why do you have to get my consent? Why don't you get my consent before rather than after? I mean, this bill is terrible. This bill is terrible. And I've got other things I can go over on this bill, but I mean, I don't think I need to. I'm taking up too much of your time. Read this bill, contact whoever you need to, and say, castrate this baby. It's bad. It's bad.
And that's the problem with a lot of these bills is we don't, you know, you have to be a lawyer to understand the verbiage. That's what I'm talking about. It's like written through chicanery, trying to fool the parents, trying to fool the voters, and how they're going to talk to their legislators or their senators about things.
So
Your rights as a parent to control what happens to your child is set forth in Title I, 601 and 602. This takes away all of them. No, not a good idea.
See,
Not a good
so
idea. Get rid of it.
Poorly written.
Okay, so we have to agree to, well, not necessarily
Reassess.
disagree, but I think we'll agree that the concept is good, but it's a bad bill.
Concept's good, but you know.
But the verbiage isn't really doing what we're thinking it's doing.
Yeah,
so that's,
it's not doing what it's telling you it's doing. Yeah, it's just
So-
not. It's
that's
not.
government for you,
Yeah.
just to push
So
around
folks,
papers.
there it is, you know, it's a good concept. Read the bill, see what you think.
Mm.
Before you approve or disapprove, or rather you contact your legislator and say, I like this bill or I don't like this bill.
Wow.